right, what is going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Very Cold Lasagna, the podcast that houses a safe and open listening platform for casual, cold, and even the dumbest takes on the world of WWE, AEW, the NFL, and the wide world of pro wrestling and sports in general. I'm your host, DylanLasagna. Welcome to today's show, episode number 68 of this freezing cold podcast that houses, well, we're in the very cold fridge, obviously in our little imagination, but we have the very cold lasagna, but that is also spicy, like, you know, our friendly little cat, Garfield, who, by the way, has made it into the video game Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl. So, congratulations to Garfield. I'm a little peeved, though, that he didn't have enough lasagna in his little arena. But anyway, today we've got a good show for you all because we've been talking about Week 13 of this NFL season, which was all high stakes as we begin the push towards the playoffs. We're going to be talking winners and losers of this week, and we got a jam-packed and a even more stakes-filled Week 14 to discuss with my picks and looking at all the matchups for Week 14. Obviously, there's still Week 13 that we have to discuss, but it's going to be a good show. Obviously, Week 13 was a big one as we began December football. And there were a lot of things that happened, a lot of things that didn't happen, and that should have happened. But here we are. December football. Things are going to get really, really intense. The playoff races are going to tighten. Things are going to get really interesting. Some of the, the bottom of the barrel teams are finally going to get put to the wayside, and we won't have to give a shit about them anymore. Looking at you, Houston Texan fans, your team is bye-bye. Bye, Felicia. Out of here. Officially out of the playoff race after losing to the Indianapolis Colts. So a little spoiler to what we're about to discuss, but nonetheless, yeah, this is going to be pretty much all December. Playoff race, Titans, playoff clinching is going to happen real soon. And the division races, well, some of them may be interesting, other maybe not. But it's going to get real intense really quick. So we're going to be discussing Week 13 and Week 14 here on today's show. Before we do, I just want to quickly share the social media. Make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening on the podcast side, the audio, make sure you listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor FM, Google Podcasts, wherever you can and however you can. Watch and listen to the show on Very Cold Lasagna. Make sure you give the show a thumbs up. Give as much feedback as possible to this freezing cold podcast that is called Very Cold Lasagna. And as always, make sure to follow the show on social media at Very Cold Lasagna on Twitter and Instagram. So let's talk first about Week 13. December football has begun in this week, and it was time to finally see who were the true contenders and who's the pretenders. Who was going to be those wild card players that were pretty much, well, they're just there, and they're just going to be backdooring themselves into the playoffs and getting bounced by whoever were the top 2 or 3 seeds are. So you're going to find that out this week. But we're also going to find out who was going to pretty much get eliminated. Those very bottom of the barrel teams looking ahead to April, looking to get a top draft pick like first overall, second, third overall. Pretty much those teams. This is all at the time where everybody's favorite winless team, the Detroit Lions. Yeah, everyone loves the Detroit Lions. Everyone loves some Lions gonna Lions football. They were inching one step closer, another step closer to chasing that golden destiny, their ultimate goal of going 16-1. They failed on going 0-17, that destiny of going 0-17, becoming that first team to go 0-17 in an NFL season, and you could thank the Pittsburgh Steelers for fucking that up. Even though it was a tie, yeah, okay, they still had the chance to do something that no other team hasn't done in NFL history, and that was go 16-1. But we'll get into that in just a little bit because some purple people eaters decided to say something about that as well. Yeah, some people eaters decided to, you know what? We're going to snatch that away from them too. So the stretch run began in Week 13 on Thursday night with the Dallas Cowboys beating the New Orleans Saints 27-17. Forget what the box score says. Taysom Hill was pretty much all over the place in this one. For as much running ability as he had, he threw 4 interceptions, pretty bad ones too. That interception that he also had also included a pick 6 in pretty much what sealed the game in this one, and that's all the Cowboys needed in a pretty much a slugfest that even saw Dak Prescott and the boys struggle on offense. But hey, if you can pretty much beat the New Orleans Saints in what was pretty much a blowout, then it was enough for the Cowboys, I guess. So the Cowboys beat the Saints 27-17. Then we get into the Sunday slate of games, starting with the early morning slate. The Miami Dolphins won their 5th consecutive game against the New York Giants 20-9. They whipped on the G-Men's blue candy asses all over Mike Glennon. And Mike Glennon, I think he was concussed towards the end of the game. And, Tua and the Finns, they've won 5 straight. I mean, maybe too little too late for them to make a playoff push, but, at least this is doing some things to inspire confidence in Tua Tagovailoa. I can never pronounce his name right, but you know what I'm getting at. And this kind of saves Brian Flores' job a little bit for next year, but hopefully this will inspire some confidence going to next season. So the Dolphins beat the Giants 20-9. The Indianapolis Colts blanked the Houston Texans on the road 31-0. Jonathan Taylor had another good day, pretty much running over the Texans' sad asses. And the Colts defense put up a shutout on Tyrod Taylor and Davis Mills. The Detroit Lions, oh man, God, do I hate Kirk Cousins and the Vikings so much. They were the chosen ones. They were supposed to keep the Lions' destiny going, not take it away from them, god damn it. The Lions were in the grasp of losing. They're so close to going 0-11-1. They wanted that so sweet 16-1. They wanted that everlasting first ever achievement. But Minnesota was like, nope, we're not going to show up to today's game. We're going to pretend there's not a game, and we're going to just choke away a lead like typical Mike Zimmer does, and just soiled it away. They let Jared Goff throw a pass to Austin St. Brown wide open in the end zone, and the Detroit Lions get their destiny taken away by the Minnesota Vikings 29-27, and they get their first victory of the season. How could you do this to us, Vikings? How could Minnesota do this? And when Minnesota loses, it's sad. Even like it really is sad. Even when they don't lose, even when they lose on not on a non-kick, missed kick, it's just sad. They lost to the winless Detroit Lions. They failed to keep that destiny going. How can they fuck that up? So anyway, the Philadelphia Eagles beat the New York Jets 33-18. Uncle Rico, aka Gardner Minshew, started in the place of Jalen Hurts. I guess they were just resting him for the bye week, but Uncle Rico stepped up in his place. 2 touchdowns to Dallas Goedert, and some field goals by the kicker Jake Elliott were good enough to pounce on Zach Wilson in the Jets. And yeah, pretty substandard. It's the Jets, so whatever. The Arizona Cardinals got Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins back and picked up pretty much right where they left off and made sure that Chicago played even more Bears football, guaranteed. As Andy Dalton threw 4 interceptions on the day, and Matt Nagy played typical Bears football and micromanaged this game to hell. Yep, typical Bears football. As the Arizona Cardinals beat the Chicago Bears 33-22, but should have been a bigger blowout than that. The LA Chargers beat the Cincinnati Bengals 41-22. The Chargers jumped to a 16-0 lead, but even though the Bengals, they made it a close game before the half. It was 23-22 at one point, but costly mistakes and turnovers and a finger injury to Joe Burrow would be the Bengals' ultimate downfall. and the Chargers would pull away from this one. So 41-22 in favor of the Chargers in their push to the postseason. And then in the last game of the early morning slate, the Tampa Bay Bucks beat the Atlanta Falcons 30-17. The Falcons almost made a game with a first half ending pick six on Tom Brady. But just like with the Bengals, mistakes after mistake, and Tampa Bay killing the clock would favor the Bucks en route to the sweep. And, Atlanta pretty much shut out in the second half. So, yeah, not a good day for the Falcons in this one, as they got beat 30-17. Then we get to the afternoon slate of games. The LA Rams destroyed the Jacksonville Jaguars 37-7. However, it had to take a whole half just to even get to that point. But Matthew Stafford and the Rams got back to whooping ass, at least for this week, against a sad sack of shit Jaguars team. The Washington football team beat the Las Vegas, not the Los Angeles Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders, 17-15. Daniel Carlson got the Raiders the lead before the 2-minute warning, but problem was Las Vegas left too much time for Taylor Heineke to charge back down to the field and let their new kicker, Brian Johnson, to nail the game winner field goal. And Washington, all of a sudden, back at 500, 6-6. They even overtook the 49ers as the 6th seed for the wild card race. So don't look now. Washington's making some moves as they head towards their big Week 14 matchup against the Dallas Cowboys next week. The Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Baltimore Ravens 20-19. Deontay Johnson's 2 second-half touchdowns from Big Ben, who was made like God by a bad Ravens defense. And Lamar Jackson was just outright terrible in this game. And the Steelers defense just pounced all over his ass. And yeah, that was pretty much the day for the Steelers. And not only did the Steelers notch a season-saving win, but they opened the door for the AFC North wide open. I'm not saying that the Steelers will win the division, but the door's open for the Bengals to even cash in on the division again. It's open for them if they want it. And then the Seahawks beat the 49ers 30-23. It was a wacky turnover fest in this one, but it was Jimmy Garbage fail. Yeah, letting Russell Wilson and the Seahawks beat the Niners at their own game, as Russell Wilson led a second half comeback, and the Seahawks pretty much blanked the 49ers in the second half because, well, the Niners continued to make mistake after mistake, and Russell Wilson and the Hawks kept the defense out there. So the Seahawks beat the 49ers 38-23, and the Niners dropped to the 7th seed, and they're clinging on to their playoff lives at this point. The Sunday night football game, the Kansas City Chiefs destroyed the Denver Broncos 22-9. Teddy Bridgewater made the Kansas City defense look like gods. And a visualization was a pick six in the fourth quarter to pretty much seal the deal. And this was a game where the Chiefs offense pretty much didn't look like themselves. But, it was enough to pretty much hammer the Broncos 22-9. And, Teddy Bridgewater, get out of Denver. In the Monday Night Football game, in a very unfriendly weather game, the New England Patriots, behind the running back core, beat the Buffalo Bills 14-10. And don't look now, the Patriots back on top of the AFC, heading into their bye week. I know there's probably going to be a lot of shifting going around in that during their bye, but they got to feel confident heading the rest of the way. They got a lot of momentum on their side. They got a fairly tough schedule with the Colts, the Bills again, but then they end the season with the Jaguars and the Dolphins. Hell, watch out. Bill Belichick and the boys are back. So it's going to be real interesting when it comes to the AFC. But Patriots get a statement win on Monday night in very unfriendly conditions. So that was week 13 of the NFL season. What did you guys think about this this week? Let me know how how you felt about it in however you can, whether it's comment on YouTube or on social media. Let me know. So now for the winners and losers of this week, the Washington football team. For the second straight week, they played some solid football. Taylor Heineke, he still managed to play smart yet aggressive football. He found ways to get the ball downfield to his teammates. Even though he couldn't cash in on some of the opportunities, had he continued to find ways to get into the end zone, this could have been a kind of like a blowout of sorts for the football team. But a win is a win for him in his team. Antonio Gibson is continuing to prove that the bye week in week 9 served them well. He had another good outing, gashing the Raiders both inside and out, and he had that critical touchdown for Washington. Even though the Raiders took the lead late in the game, but that touchdown was crucial to keep them alive in the game. The only issue is their defense is still particularly weak, even though they were kind of made like gods against a pretty bad Raiders team outside of Hunter Renfrow. But they made enough big plays to give the offense a chance to win. Now the big test comes next week against the Dallas Cowboys, against Dak Prescott, Zeke Elliott, and pretty much all their litany of weapons. So it's going to be tough to stop them. But if Heineke can play well like he did in the last 2 weeks, an upset is not out of the cards. The New England Patriots, they only threw the ball 3 times, and understandably so, in very bad weather in Buffalo. But then this was also the same Bills team that threw it like dozens of times. But the Patriots ran the ball down the Bills' throats, and the Bills never adjusted. They never found a way to stop the run. I guess for the Patriots, it was like, if something works and the opposition can't stop it, keep going with it. Keep pounding the ball. Keep pounding the rock. It's a testament to how the Pats can win with this running back core of Damian Harris, Ramondre Stevenson, Brandon Bolden, and also puts less pressure on Mac Jones to try and win it himself, at least for this season. Next season, you're probably going to have to try to find ways to win Mac Jones. The defense, it's picking up right where it left off, like I'd say a couple years ago. It made plays that mattered most against Josh Allen. They made a critical stop on 4th and forever on the last play of the game for the Bills. And this is key for the Patriots. Now this is some good, valuable experience for some of these younger players on that Patriots defense. So, like I said, the Patriots have pretty much all the momentum that now also includes the top seed in the AFC heading into their bye week. So they get to sit back, relax, and pretty much watch the Bills try to not get destroyed by Tom Brady and the Bucs in Week 14. Now as for some of the losers, the Baltimore Ravens, again. This team is trending downhill. They're imploding at the wrong time. Lamar Jackson is not looking good. He's trying to make things happen. Trying to make something out of nothing, only to make things worse for an offense that's pretty much been dysfunctional for the last month, outside Mark Andrews and Marquise Brown. He's having a hard time trying to trust receivers like Sammy Watkins, Rashad Bateman, Devin Duvernay, and also he can't get the big play going. And when he can't get the big play going, he just gets sacked, or he tries to run it but he loses it for like several yards, or he tries to throw into way too tight coverage, and when he tries to throw into way too tight coverage, he either gets the ball deflected or he gets picked off. So Lamar Jackson, I feel like he's trying to do too much for a team that's just too beat up by injuries. And speaking of beat up by injuries, the defense is really showing its wear without its playmakers that also just lost Marlon Humphrey for the season. They couldn't stop pretty much anybody, like Deontay Johnson, their receiver, Pat Freiermuth, their rookie tight end, and Najee Harris, their rookie running back. So pretty much they made Big Ben Roethlisberger look decent. They made him look decent. And, for a team that's supposed to be like one of the top playoff contenders, this is really concerning. This is really concerning for the Ravens team. And like I said, they've opened the door for the AFC North to be taken from them. They let the Bengals kind of look back in. And this is concerning for them. This is concerning for the Ravens if, they can't pick up the slack. And it's not going to get any easier. After the Browns, they face the Packers, and then they face the Bengals again, and then they face the Ravens, not the Rams, and then lo and behold, you face the Steelers in the season finale. It's not a tough. It's not an easy go, for the Ravens the rest of the way. So, if they keep this up, I don't see them going to the postseason if they keep playing this way. The Denver Broncos. Oh man, if they needed a bigger indication that that they needed a quarterback, for whether you're a fan of Denver or if you're Denver yourself, you definitely got it in front of a national primetime audience. Teddy Bridgewater, oh my God, he looked lost all night. He let himself take countless sacks, and he misread the defense, and pretty much by misreading the defense, he allowed himself to throw like wide open interceptions, and that one interception also led to a pick six that pretty much ended the game for Denver. So pretty much, Teddy B, he tried to be aggressive, but not too many times. And his lack of aggressiveness, him trying to play too safe, it's hurting the upside. Some guys like Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Javonte Williams, and it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate, and it has to be that way. And I don't imagine it being better under Drew Lock. Like, really, it probably won't be better. But it's just, a sad situation that the Broncos are in, that they don't have a real quarterback to unlock the potential of these guys. And hopefully, whoever their general manager is, whoever John Elway wants to find in the offseason, they'll get it. But sadly, for now, the Broncos have to deal with more of this Teddy B BS for 5 more games. It's sad. And then the Minnesota Vikings. Yes. Mike Zimmer really chose the one game to play down to the competition and strip away the Lions' golden destiny of going 16-1. Yes, he wanted to not let the Lions become the first winless and tied team in NFL history. And this was against the worst team in the league. He just went way too soft. He dialed up check down throws for Kirk Cousins on third down. When Zimmer knew Kirk Cousins can at least aggressively throw it downfield. And, Mike Zimmer on extra points, instead of kicking it with Greg Joseph, he decided to go for 2, which, okay, understandably so. But instead of, trying to throw the ball, trying to throw the ball in the end zone, he ran it with Alexander Madison twice and failed. And then when you finally tried to throw it, you still failed. Like, what are you doing? These are terrible, terrible calls right here. And not only that, the defense was outright bad. As if you already got gashed enough by San Francisco, you were getting gashed by the worst team in the league. Literally the worst. You let one of these nameless Lions receivers named Austin St. Brown just get wide open, catch the ball in his hands like, oh, thank you, Jared Goff. Thank you for the gift. In the end zone to get the game-winning touchdown. And you literally spoil their destiny. You literally take away their destiny. You know what? If there wasn't any bigger proof that Mike Zimmer needs to be fired after the season, this is the game. This is literally the game that Zimmer needs to be fired. It's this one. Because he gaffed up big. He literally gaffed up big in this one. Now for some players of the week. Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford for 3 touchdowns. He got 3 touchdowns of the day it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, it's Jacksonville, but realistically, there weren't any other qualified candidates for this award. Jonathan Taylor got 2 touchdowns for the day against a bad Texans team. but he looked efficient in doing so. And he didn't help this Colts defense. Blanking the Houston Texans, doing even more damage than they did in their first showing. Last time only scored 3 points, and then this time completely blanking them away from the end zone. So that was the week that was, week 13. Let me know how you felt about this week, however you can. And who were your players of the week? Who were your winners and losers? Let me know about that too. So now that we finished up with week 13, let's shift our weights towards a very, very important week 14 of this 2021 season. It's clinching season, as we like to call it here on Very Cold Lasagna. That's because, well, this is a very important week of this season because this is the time where teams are eligible to clinch their spots into the playoffs. The teams eligible for this week are the Cardinals, the Packers, and the Bucks. Unfortunately, there are no teams eligible to be eliminated. So for those that are looking to have the Jacksonville Jaguars or the New York Jets or who else is eligible? I think those are the only two ones that have the lowest records. Or the Detroit Lions. How are they not eliminated yet? But nonetheless, those couple of teams that are very bottom of the barrel, looking ahead to April, are not eligible to be eliminated this week as of this recording. But the teams that are eligible to clinch their playoff spots this week are the Cardinals, the Packers, the Bucks. The Cardinals have the simplest way to clinch their spot. They beat the Rams and they're in. For the Packers and the Bucks, just to simply clinch a playoff spot, it gets very dicey. They need a whole lot of things to go their way. But for the Packers and the Bucks, they can clinch their division as soon as this week. They just need at least a few things to go their way. For the Packers, to clinch the NFC North, they need to have the Vikings to lose on Thursday night. They need to lose on Thursday night to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and obviously they got to beat Bears football on Sunday night. For the Bucks to clinch the NFC South this week, the Jets, they have to pull off an upset somehow. The New York Jets, they somehow got to pull off an upset over the New Orleans Saints, and the Atlanta Falcons have to beat Carolina on the road, and the Bucks got to do their part to beat the Bills at home. So, two divisions are eligible to be clinched this week. In this week action of week 14. Other than clinching, there's just a lot of games with playoff importance, which is telling of where the rest of the season is heading towards and what it's going to look like. And, there's going to be also a lot of teams just simply watching the chaos. You got 4 teams on bye this week, and these are the last batch of teams that are going to be on bye. And then everyone going forward is going to be playing. Everyone that had their bye weeks, they're going to play. They're going to play the rest of the way from week 15 to 18. You got the Colts, the Eagles, the Patriots, and the Dolphins. All pretty much going to be watching the chaos. So now let's get into these games. You kick things off with Thursday Night Football, the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Minnesota Vikings. This is the game that the Packers are going to be watching intensely, so they can sew up the NFC North this weekend. I don't trust either team to follow consistent, like in terms of consistency. But the Vikings have pretty much shown they've been bad with such consistency. But in terms of losing, they are consistent in that. When it comes to winning, though, not so much. Especially considering they snatched away the Lions' golden destiny of getting to 16-1. So even with the big Ben Roethlisberger that's washed up as all hell, the Steelers can gash a bad Minnesota defense that Kirk Cousins won't even be able to make up for. So I'm going to roll with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So then we get to a very, very intense Sunday slate of games, starting with the early morning action. The Dallas Cowboys travel to the nation's capital to take on the Washington football team. This is a big, big matchup for the NFC East that'll likely determine the winner of the division. I mean, it's going to be the Cowboys, but hey, you never know. I mean, Washington is only 2 games back. They still yet to they only played the New York Giants so far, and that was all the way back in week 2. They still gotta pretty much play the rest of the division. They gotta play the Cowboys twice, they gotta play the Eagles twice, and then they play the Giants in the season finale. For Washington, the division still kind of technically almost a little bit there. They just gotta win out if they actually want it, and for things to go against the Cowboys. So this is kind of a big matchup for them. And I'm going to go on a little bit of a crazy hand here, but I'm going to go with Washington. And yes, their secondary is going to be completely torched by Dak Prescott, but I think Taylor Heineke, can be that engine that can get enough against, the Cowboys' middling defense. I mean, honestly, their defense is pretty overrated, if you ask me. So I'm going to go on a really, really crazy hand here and go with Washington to get the upset victory over Dallas. The Jacksonville Jaguars take on the Tennessee Titans as the Titans return from their bye, hopefully with a bunch of people like A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, fully healthy, rested up, to hopefully keep their grasp, their very, very small grasp on the AFC South. Hopefully they're all rested up and ready to go against a very shitty Jaguars team. Unless Tennessee decides to fuck that up too. So I'm going to roll with the Titans. The Seahawks travel to Houston to take on the Texans. Russell Wilson and the Hawks are probably going to continue to try for their luck in an unlikely playoff push. Even though it's the Texans and even though the Seahawks have been very bad this season, they should take care of an already eliminated Texans team. So give me the Seahawks. The Las Vegas Raiders travel to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is looking to have a repeat Week 10 performance where he had 5 touchdowns on the Raiders in Vegas, while Derek Carr looking to have a much better performance than he did in Week 13 against Washington, and looking to do better against this Chiefs defense. But sorry, Mr. Carr, your engine is going to burst yet again. This should be a prime spot for the Chiefs offense to cook yet again all over the Raiders before an important Week 15 showdown in Los Angeles. The New Orleans Saints travel to New York to take on the Jets. This is one of the games that Tampa Bay is going to be looking at very, very intensely as well. The Saints, their season is pretty much falling apart right before their very eyes with all the injuries. But the Jets are already a bad team enough to begin with. But New Orleans should be able to take care of Zach Wilson on the road, and they should pull out the win nonetheless. So, sorry, Bucs fan, you're going to have to wait another week to clinch the division. I mean, the Jets probably not going to do you any favors. The Atlanta Falcons take on the Carolina Panthers in Carolina. The Falcons, they don't have anyone besides Matt Ryan, Cordell Patterson, or Kyle Pitts. But the Panthers are not going to make any noise with Cam Newton, who's washed up as all hell under center. So even with the bye week, So I'm going to roll with the Falcons in this one. And then in a must-win game for both teams, the Baltimore Ravens travel to Cleveland to take on the Browns. The Browns at 6-6 are banged up as all hell. Even fresh out of the bye week, who knows how well rested, how healthy these Browns are, especially Baker Mayfield. They're going to be coming out of the bye. How much rest have they really gotten out of the bye week? But, there's always a small chance of an upset against the Ravens team. They've been mildly struggling on all fronts. Lamar Jackson has not been playing well. The rest of the offense has been, outside of Mark Andrews, has been pretty lackluster. The defense, yes, they are injured, but they've still been doing pretty badly as we speak. That said, though, Lamar Jackson should finally, at least for one game, be able to break through that funk against a injury-riddled skid marks team. So I'm going to roll with the Ravens in this one. Then we get into the afternoon slate of games. The New York Giants take on the LA Chargers. And I think the Chargers are primed to feast on a Giants team that won't have neither Daniel Jones nor Mike Glennon under center, at least as of this time. And instead, they'll be starting a dude named Jake Fromm. Is that his name? I know it's some dude named Jake. I know it's not Jake from State Farm. It's not some dude named Jake from State Farm. So that's all I know. Who's starting under center from on this game for New York. So either way, the Chargers are likely to pounce all over some G-Men candy yash in this one. So it'll be real interesting to see that. Not really. So the Detroit Lions are going to try to follow up their first win of the season against the Denver Broncos in the Mile High. So as punishment for defying your destiny, Detroit, you will succumb to a Denver defense for as bad as they are against elite talent. They will kick ass against scrubs and an offense that is still meh. I swear, Teddy Bridgewater better win this game. I swear, like, Vic Fangio better just put in Drew Lock just to see what the fuck happens. Either way, I just hope Denver wins this one. Otherwise, I don't know what the fuck they're gonna do. The San Francisco 40 Nightmares take on the Cincinnati Bengals in a must-win game, a big matchup for both teams' playoff hopes. The Niners hold the final NFC wildcard spot at this moment, while the Bengals currently hold the, I think it's the 5th seed. No, I think after they lost to the Chargers, it's probably the 6th seed. But, both teams are kind of banged up going into this matchup. The Niners have yet to find out, as of this time, whether they'll have Deebo Samuel or Fred Warner back for this one. The Bengals are going to also be trotting out a less than 100% Joe Burrow because he had a finger injury that he suffered against the Chargers, and he's going to try to play through it, and that always comes with risks. So either way, all eyes are going to be on both teams. Like for the Bengals, it's going to be how well Joe Burrow's going to play through that finger injury, and how is the offense going to respond after like that very, very mixed performance, especially from Jimmy Garbage fail on last Sunday against Seattle. And also, all eyes will be on Kyle Shanahan on whether or not he'll be able to play his ball control, run first offense. So that should be interesting to see. But either way, I'm going to take the 49ers with a very, very small edge, just because, it's my team. I got to at least pick a winner. So it should be interesting. The Buffalo Bills, in probably a big, big, big game for them, travel to Tampa to take on the Buccaneers. The Bucs are pretty much kind of imploding on all fronts, but the Tampa Bay Bucs, on the other hand, are clicking at the right time. Even though they're in different conferences, Josh Allen's got to face his former foe in Tom Brady, who's going to have the honor of gashing a pretty much Tre'Davious Whiteless Bills defense. We didn't get to see what life was going to be like without him on Monday night because of the weather conditions, but we're probably going to get a good idea come Sunday against Tom Brady and the Bucs. So with these bevy of weapons the Bucs have, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski, even Cameron Brate. Yeah, Buffalo, have fun with that. Have fun with that on Sunday. So I'm going to roll with the Bucs. Then in the Sunday night game, oh man, we've been waiting all day for Bears football, guaranteed. Yeah, the Chicago Bears take on the Green Bay Packers. Are you ready for this? This is the moment of the episode where I say fuck you to the NFL for not finding a better game for this Sunday night matchup, for not flexing in a better game because you want to have your hard-ons, your dicks out for the history of Bears football and Green Bay, baby. Yeah, you really want to grab in those ratings for Bears football and Green Bay Packer football. Oh well. So for all of us sad sacks of shit that have to watch this game just to talk about it, oh man, you better be ready. You better be ready for Aaron Rodgers to show the Bears once again that he's their schlag daddy. And of course, get ready for that one-course meal of prime time served on a platter with Matt Nagy's bald-ass head on it. Bears football. Guaranteed. Then in the Monday night game, the LA Rams take on the Arizona Cardinals in a big NFC West matchup. And, this is a good closer of the week. If the Rams win, they gain a little bit of ground in the NFC West. And, if the Cardinals falter, the Rams could, slip their way back up to the top of the division. But if the Cardinals win, they pretty much got a firm grasp on this, on the NFC West. But anyway, the Rams lost 3 of 4. They pretty much beat the Jaguars, and that's no accomplishment. The Cardinals actually have managed to win 2 of 3 before their bye, and once Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins got back in the fold, they pretty much destroyed the Bears in Bears football in Week 13. So it was a good warm up for them ahead of this big showdown. So in essence, the Cardinals got back their 2 big players at the right time. So it's a good time for them for a matchup where they're probably going to need them to replicate their success from Week 4, where the Cardinals smashed the Rams and Matthew Stafford and that high-powered offense and torched that one of the top flight defenses. So I believe just like in Week 4, the defense for the Cardinals will be key to stopping Matthew Stafford again. And like I said, for the Cardinals, all they have to do here is win. And I think they'll do so again here in Week 14 to close out the week. And they'll be the first team to clinch their spot in the postseason. But those are my picks for Week 14 of this 2021 season. Let me know how they are, or what you're going with, or if you're going against my picks, let me know what you're going with. Who are you rolling with? And who's going to have a big day, who's going to have a bad day. Let me know how you feel about it, however you can. But that is it for this episode of Very Cold Lasagna. I am your host, DylanLasagna, signing out of this very interesting episode. I'm going back into the ice-cold fridge and having myself a very cold lasagna. But that is it for today's episode. Make sure to listen to the show on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor FM. Make sure to give this episode a thumbs up wherever you can, whether it's on YouTube or on the audio sites, however you can, to support the show. Anyway, as always, keep that lasagna very cold in the fridge with your takes on the world of pro wrestling and sports. Very cold in the fridge. As cold as very cold lasagna, but, tasty and spicy, like Garfield. It's always a good time when you have Garfield around, who, by the way, again, also made the roster to Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl. So you can never have enough of Garfield the cat, man. Never enough. He likes his lasagna icy cold too. All right, everyone. Until next time, peace out.